Exhibit A. I feel like I'm in a courtroom drama right now. This movie was recommended to me after I had made the top 10 found footage list I made yesterday. Someone sent me their top 10 list. I went through it. There was 2 movies on there I have not seen, and so I checked out one of them because the other one's impossible to find. But I'll find it. So this movie is about a family, and this young girl. I think she's maybe 14, somewhere in that area, and she's just kind of filming her family's everyday life, and they have this like kind of seemingly perfect family, and things start to slowly fall apart. Now, I think what I'll say right off the bat with this movie is that this movie depends so heavily and lives and dies off of whether or not you care about this family. If you're like 15, 20, even 30 minutes in, and you're like, this family isn't really doing it for me, I just want to get to the good stuff, it's time to turn it off. It's not going to be a film you enjoy. So I definitely recommend, if you're not feeling the family, if they're not appealing to you, if you don't care about them, this movie is not going to work for you at all. Now, I did like the family. I think that the acting is good. I think that it's a dad, a mom, a brother, and a sister. And I think that they all work very well together. And I did care about them. I did very much care what happened towards the end. Like, oh shit. Even though you kind of know where this is heading, this movie really has no huge twists or turns that were like, oh shit, I didn't see that coming. This is very much a drama. There's very little horror elements to it until the very, very, very last bit of it. So don't go in expecting some horror film kind of thing, because it really, do I put this in a horror genre? Sure. I'm reviewing it on this channel, and I'm only doing horror on here. It's got enough to be considered a horror movie, but I would primarily, label this a drama. I liked the daughter storyline the most. I think that I felt for her the most. I'm mostly being biased about that because I have daughters of my own, which made this movie very tough for me to watch in moments. But yeah, this is not a thrill a minute. This is a very slow burn. It very much feels like you're watching someone's home videos. There's not a huge production value to it. It very much looks like found footage, from someone's home video cassette recorder. So I definitely think that this is not a movie for everybody. As I said earlier, this movie will make or break off of whether or not you care about this family. I did. Did I love this movie? I did not love this movie. But I did like it. The things that I had wrong with it were that, number one, I wish there was either a second camera, or there's certain scenes where the footage is being played back to people and we don't get to see that reaction because they're using the only camera to show them the footage. And it would have been really nice to, get their reactions to watching the footage. It would have added a lot to it, I think, personally. I think that it was kind of an easy way out of doing those overly dramatic scenes. Maybe they didn't think their actors had the range. I don't know. Maybe it was a choice by the filmmakers to make it. I don't know. I'd have to think about why they would purposely do that. But I did miss it for sure. I missed the reactions coming from the people. And then other things. And now this is one of those things where you're kind of griping on it, but at the same time it makes sense, is scenes drug on for too long. Like there's just like they set the camera down and then the person's like walking around in their room back and forth for like a good minute or two straight with nothing going on. And you're just like, okay, this is where it gets weird, because it's like, this is a found footage movie, so it's supposed to appear real and you're supposed to be watching real footage. Obviously it's not, but that's what they're trying to sell. They're trying to sell that this is actual video documentation of a tragedy, that this is exhibit A in a courtroom. So it's kind of interesting to knock it for being so realistic, but let's say it was, you could still edit out when they're walking around, that you don't need to see that. So as much as I just think it's filler. I mean, it's just filler. It's really what it is. They need an 80-minute movie, 90-minute movie, so they just have them walk around because they don't have a lot to fill. And they don't have the budget to do it. I know that that's supposed to create drama, like that the characters are really thinking about what they've done, and that we kind of get, but we don't get a close-up of their face. We see like half body from like here down, them walking around. So you don't really get an emotional gauge of what's going on. Like, oh, this person's so upset. Like you can surmise it because the situation is so crazy, but you don't really get to see it. So a lot of the acting is kind of done off screen. Now, the acting that is on screen, I think, is done well. I think that the dad especially gives a really good performance. I just wish that I would have gotten to see more of them. A second camera definitely would have helped. I'm not sure how it would have fit into the storyline, but they could have made it work. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I have to say about it. It's a movie that I wouldn't recommend to strangers, or, be like, but after you know what's coming, and you can shut it off 30 minutes in if you don't like the family. So, but other than that, I enjoyed it enough. I will say, though, that the last like 5 minutes of this movie, I mean, there's definitely some dramatic scenes throughout that suck. Like, not that it sucks watching it, like, it sucks that this is going on to this family, but that last 5 minutes is very, very, very tough to watch if you like, the characters. Now I'm going to get into a really quick spoiler, so if you're going to watch it, shut it off. I just want to talk about it really quick. I don't know if it definitely seemed like they were suggesting that the daughter had lived, which I was happy about, because I took her death the hardest. As I said, I have kids, I have daughters, so when he was suffocating her, that was by far the worst scene in this movie for me. I was just like, oh, you motherfucker, I want you dead, I'll kill you with my bare hands. So that definitely got me. Kind of reminded me of Megan is Missing, where he opens up the can and the girl's in there, or like the pictures of the girl with the ball gag and the blood and she's screaming. Those fucked me up, man. Those fucked me up. Like, I was seriously shook for like an hour after that movie ended, and I don't ever get affected by movies like that, ever. It's just, I don't know, something about young daughters being hurt like that, especially, I mean, in this movie, by their father. Like, fuck, I would never do that to my kids, but to think that you could, I guess technically, is terrifying and horrible, and I hate it. So that did get me.